So did you wake up this morning feeling depressed and defeated, enraged and angered? Well, I have a medicine for that. Don't. This is glorious. In actuality, it was a victory. I know it may shock you that I state that and why I actually seem pleased by the results of yesterday. Because remember, you get what you pay for, and there's consequences to actions, and there's consequences to votes, and now you have to live with who you voted for. The entire face of the Democrat Party has now been rebranded. And just imagine how wonderful those results will be. Think about that for a moment. Then we're going to go forward in an explanation as to what that means, what happened, and why I have in this picture Mamdani, AOC, Trump, and Obama all laughing. Because there's a reason for that. Because don't believe what you read. The results are much different than what you're being told. And that's the story I'll bring you in 1 minute. Now, if you woke up this morning and read the HuffPost, which I'm certain most of you don't, you would read blue kaboom. Backlash boils over. Trump thumped. Loss after loss after loss. And okay, if you want to believe that. You go further in the headlines, VA bloodbath for GOP. Can't even seize on texting scandal, which I will tend to agree with that one. Junked in Jersey, pulped in PA. Golden State gut punch in gerrymander war. Meanwhile, in New York City, Mamdani mania. Okay. You could state that every single race was won by Democrats, and you'd be accurate. But was Trump thumped? Was Trump on the ballot? No. Was it his administration and everything that they have done on the ballot? No. But let's explain further here as to why I feel this is a victory. Did Trump go unhinged for a moment? He did. Trump wasn't on the ballot. Thanks, Trump. We know that. And shutdown were the two reasons Republicans lost elections tonight. In actuality, Republicans didn't have much of a chance if you actually followed these races. They didn't necessarily make it better for themselves, but either the Democrats, especially when you get into the Attorney General of one state, but I digress. He then came out. The 60 Minutes interview of Donald J. Trump on CBS Sunday night was the highest rated 60 Minutes in years. Great, President Trump. We understand. And we also know that President Trump likes to pat himself in the back a bit. Republicans terminate the filibuster, get back to passing legislation, and voter reform President Donald J. Trump. Okay. If you had eliminated the filibuster prior to this vote, would it have changed anything? No, it wouldn't have. My humble opinion, of course. But let's move forward. Pass voter reform. Voter ID, no mail-in ballot, save our Supreme Court from packing, no two-state addition, terminate the filibuster. He's going a little crazy here for a moment, right? Maybe. These four words come out, and so it begins, and those are the four words we're going to focus on. Because it does begin. Because there's consequences to votes, and you now have to live with who you voted for. And hence the smirk you see on my face. Because I'm actually quite pleased with the results. Because we finally get to see what happens now that the Democrats have changed the entire face of their party. And who gives it away? AOC. You see, she has problems like many Democrats in keeping her mouth shut. And you would think, after all of this, the only statement she would make is, "We beat President Trump." But that's not what she said. Oh no, she had a bone to pick with someone else. Many other people. And it wasn't only President Trump, and she gave away everything. But we can cover some of the more boring races, of course. Democrat McSherrill wins the race for New Jersey governor. Great. A centrist Democrat. Not super exciting. Obama stumped for her. President Trump stumped for her competitor, but the race was fairly decisive. Not shocked by this result at all. New Jersey gets what they voted for. Virginia also gets what they voted for. Oh, Virginia, you are in so much trouble. Just going to watch your state go the same way that my wonderful state has gone. But again, you get what you vote for. Obama also stumped for Spanberger. But do we really think Spanberger wasn't going to win, although she couldn't answer a simple question? What she stands for, nobody agrees with, but allegedly the voters in Virginia agree with it. So again, you get what you vote for. Obama stumped for. Trump never endorsed her competitor. Did Winsome Earl Sears actually stand a chance? Some people believed it. She did a great job in some of the debates, but at the end of the day, the vote was fairly decisive. As unfortunate as that vote is, but more unfortunate, and really the only shock to me in the race of any of these was this. But if you've noticed, there's an air of excitement in my voice, because I'm going to show you the consequences. Not only for those who voted for these folks to get in, but for the Democrats. And it is absolutely, I don't even know what word I want to use, wonderful, amazing, joyous. Because remember, there's consequences to actions. And the establishment was unable to stop what just happened. And AOC is about to call out that establishment. And I'm not going to stop when I get started. So before I do, huge favor, here's Lisa's page, my beautiful wife. I ask you each day because it helps me to beat the algorithm and has helped this channel to explode because so many of you are listening. When you go to my homepage, you'll see a subscribe button. Make sure when you drop down, your bell is checked to all. I just circled it on the screen for you. By checking it to all, you'll actually be alerted to my upcoming broadcast. You also know I have a membership button. Thank you so many of you for joining as members here. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for answering the pinned comment I put in there. Thank you for always supporting my sponsors. And thank you for going to our home platform for news, which is restrictedrepublic.com. No commercials, no interruptions on that platform. Not only do we re-air every public broadcast we put up, removing all commercials and interruptions, but as many of you know, I continue my podcast. So if you want to learn every single detail of what's about to happen to those poor folks in New York, I am going to go in great detail to every single detail of what Mamdani is about to do to the folks in New York. Oh my goodness. Gen Z, do you have any idea what you're actually just voted in? You don't. It's all right. You're young. I get it. You want free stuff. You have no idea what that free stuff is about to cost you. But I'll go ahead and tell you. Oh, it's going to be so much fun later in the podcast. I hope you'll go to Restricted Republic right now. You have your own dashboard. You can cancel anytime, annual and monthly subscriptions. And the best part, you get 14 days for free to check it out. I'd love you to go there right now. I'll continue my podcast as I do almost every single day to its full-length version. But now, let's get back to this broadcast. Back to Jones. First, a man who was clocked at 116 miles per hour in a 70-mile-per-hour zone, charged with reckless driving, avoided jail time, did his volunteer time by volunteering for his own pack, mind you. Not the worst part of J. Jones, the man who fantasized about shooting his former Virginia GOP speaker. In the text that I showed you, this is the man, those were the text, who just won the election. But the Democrats don't condone violence. That vote would say otherwise. Folks in Virginia, what were you thinking? Exactly why would 53% of you vote that man into office? That vote I don't understand in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, the mass amount of the state didn't vote for him. I get that. At least as far as this area goes. But as far as voters, wow. Again, you get what you vote for. Newsom. Election. Love the title on that. California congressional Republicans are on the brink of extinction. Now, what does that mean exactly? What is this Prop 50 that was voted in? The only issue on the ballot in California this election day, which Gavin Newsom was granted what he won. by a vote of 63.8%. That wasn't only a victory, that was a massive victory. Why? Because Republicans were lazy. 4 million California Republicans still haven't voted on the night before Election Day. The Democrats did. Republicans always have this problem. Sometimes they have a tendency to sit back and wait and be lazy. And Democrats don't. They're more active. And once again, it rears its ugly head. And you get a vote count like this. Destroyed and demolished. Is it going to be contested in court? According to President Trump, it will. The unconstitutional redistricting vote in California is a giant scam, in that the entire process, in particular the vote itself, is blank. Public platforms. All mail-in ballots where the Republicans in the state are shut out. It's under very serious legal and criminal review. Stay tuned. We'll see. I hear stay tuned a lot. I know you get upset at Pam Bondi about that too, President Trump, but we'll see if anything actually happens. So what just happened in California? In the 2024 election, California elected 43 Democrats and 9 Republicans. Based on Prop 50, they will lose 5 seats now, which means, ouch, it will go 43 plus 5 to a total of 48 Democrats potentially, and a total of 4 Republicans. So Republicans will be all but eliminated from the state of California. Even worse than they already were. Welcome to the wonderful art of redistricting. This is being deployed in many states, folks, so I'm not going to throw shade at anyone for this because it's being done on both sides of the aisle. But our main story, Zohran Mamdani, puts the biggest smile on my face. Not because I wanted him to win, obviously, but you had to know he was going to win. There was no way in hell that his competitors were going to win because this is what New York wants. And so now, New York, you get it. How was the vote count? Not even close. He won overall by vast majority. Add insult to injury. Who showed up at his election night party? Hassan Piker. Just to add more insult to injury, many of you may not know this podcaster, this ban, Israeli-hating, terror-supporting streamer, seduced the New York Times, and he was there on top of it all. Self-proclaimed Marxist. Communist just won. Wow. This will be amazing to watch what happens to New York now. The bad news for the good people in New York City is that Mamdani won. But the good news for the rest of America is that Mamdani won. Why? You see, here's the best part of the argument. Because the face of the Democrats just changed. This is now the face of the Democrats. No longer Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi. They have now been replaced by Zohran Mamdani, AOC, and you're about to find out Shaukat Chakrabarti. I've covered in my broadcast yesterday, who more than likely will replace Nancy Pelosi in her seat. And what does that mean? The radical arm of the Democrat Party is taking out the Democrat establishment. Trump ultimately would love to see that happen. And why? Because he believes that it will destroy the Democrats. Because we know what the policies, socialist policies and communist policy, should mean to America when it hits these cities. Defines Dems as a communist party. Teaches the country a lesson on why socialism and communism suck. So, we don't try it nationally. Now, what say you? Will that work? The danger is Gen Z themselves, because they like free stuff. It will eventually backfire, and I will explain that later in the podcast as to why it will backfire, because it always does. Zohran Mamdani has won the New York City mayoral race, defeating Andrew Cuomo per decision desk. New York City will now be under the rule of a Ugandan communist. The only hope for the city now is people wake up and vote Republican after Mamdani bankrupts the place. And more than likely, he will. His programs won't be funded, can't be funded, it will bankrupt New York, but again, we see bankruptcy in many cities and they continue to exist, aka Chicago. But here's where things get twisted. See, I told you AOC always has problems being quiet. You would have thought the first thing she would have said is, we defeated President Trump and his policies. This is a mandate for our change. No, not what AOC said. You see, AOC is the new spokesperson for the Democrats. Here's what she said.
So many people who participated and were brought together by his campaign, because they were not just tasked with defeating a Republican. They were also tasked with defeating the old guard of the Democratic Party that essentially led us to many of the perils of this moment. So he had a two-front war to win, which is what makes his victory so deeply impressive.
Wow. She just put her own party on notice. His victory was so deeply impressive, not because he had to defeat a Republican, because he defeated the Democrat establishment. AOC always says the quiet part out loud. It's why I always look for her clips when these things happen. People will just skip over that. Because remember, the Democrats aren't violent. It's the Republicans who are violent. We don't have to worry about that, right? Nancy Pelosi, I told you just yesterday, she's out. Expected to quit politics after California votes on redistricting. Obama, who was stumping for Spanberger. Obama, who was stumped for Cheryl. Obama, who, although he wouldn't completely endorse Mamdani, gave him a phone call and said, hey, I'll be your sounding board. Praise Mamdani as impressive. The man who allegedly unleashed rage at Pelosi for her endorsement of Kamala Harris, man, he appears to have now gotten his revenge, didn't he? He uprooted the Democrat establishment, because what does Obama truly believe in as a form of government? Ask yourself that question. Would he support the Pelosi's and Schumer's, or would he rather support the policies of the AOC, the Squads, and the Mamdanis? If you know that answer, you then understand why this victory changes the face of Democrats and why Obama was out stumping. And to just frame it all in for you so you understand exactly what happened, Chuck Schumer ended up never taking a stand in his home state for mayor on who he endorsed. Never. Now, why wouldn't he do that? Because he knows they're coming for him. AOC, whose Senate seat is she looking at if she doesn't decide to run for president? Chucky Schumer. The establishment died last night, and now everyone who voted for it will learn the consequences of what happens when you vote for socialism, aka kind of, somewhat, maybe, all the way communism. And now everyone who voted for it will learn what you get when you vote for socialism, kind of / communism. Folks, it ain't going to be pretty. And if you want to understand why it's not going to be pretty, oh, please continue forward with me, because I will define it in great grandeur and detail for you, because it doesn't have to do anything with the filibuster. And it doesn't have to do with this. Do Republicans have a plan to stop Democrat socialist Zohran Mamdani from being sworn in if he wins? Why? Don't stop it. Let him go. Please let him go. Let him do all the damage, because Daily Mail actually had it right. Why Mamdani's socialist revolution in New York has sparked a civil war for Democrats, and Trump is secretly loving it. I'll tell you exactly why he is, and why, from the start of this broadcast to the end, I'm smiling from ear to ear. Because you get what you vote for. And so many people just made a huge miscalculation. And they think they're going to get stuff for free. Remember the people you just voted in that you believe are one of you? Are not. Oh no. Socialism always starts from those who want to appear as one of you, but are uber wealthy. They're not one of you. They just trick you into believing they are. And then they use you for the votes. And then eventually, everything you think is free comes at a very heavy price tag. And you're about to find out what that is. Those who follow me will learn specifically what it is in just a few minutes. Those of you at Restricted Republic, kick over to the next video. Those of you who haven't gone there yet, what the heck are you waiting for? Join me now at restrictedrepublic.com. Can't wait to see you there. We'll continue on in just a few moments. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.